Alright guys, got the Mach Z here. I was going to do a video because there's not any videos of these sleds and there's very little pictures. The only thing to fucking go by is if you have a manual or, you know, Joe Blow on the Skidoo forum. But I'll just give you a little heads up that these fucking sleds are a bitch to work on, especially if you have to rebuild the motor. Alright, and I got this thing when it was a fucking basket case. It was already tore apart. I didn't know what went where, you know, what bolts to use. It was a fucking guessing game. It was a bunch of bullshit. Alright, so we got the motor in, got a lot of the shit done. Spent about $2,300 just in parts to rebuild this thing. You know, I would not recommend it. It's not, you know, the most logical sled if you're fixing. But hopefully it runs great, and these things apparently run really good and they're fun. Hopefully, we'll fucking see. But what I wanted to show you guys was the wiring. The wiring on these sleds is absolutely, it's a fucking bird's nest. There's so many plugs. They're all very similar plugs. You know, I've had, you know, a dozen of these motherfuckers, or half a dozen. I mean, they'll plug in just about in the 5 different options. So you really have to figure out by the length of it what goes where. Now this one, yeah, this thing goes into this little sensor back here for your fucking, I think they call it your EPS. I don't even know. And then you got, there's another one that'll run right up here. Go to your air box. Right here. That'll go to your air box. So I figured those out. And then we go over to the other side. Actually, before we go to the other side, this is where your stator comes out of the motor from this wire and then connects into the loom right here. And for the longest time, I thought this had ran down with the other stator wire going to the rectifier. Well, that ain't the fucking case. It runs up the motor and gets plugged in here. You know, I had to figure that out. I've been working on this wiring, you know, probably about 4 or 5 days. And it's just a hoe, man. So this is your water temperature sensor. And then you got your O2 sensor here. I'm assuming that's gonna plug into this. We're gonna find out because there's another fucking plug that runs on the back of here called the mach sensor. If you see what I mean. See, it's the same fucking plug, see? So you really have to know the color of the wires you're looking for, and that kind of shit. And if not, you're gonna run into a whole fucking laundry list of problems. But I believe I have it all figured out now. Now the biggest thing for me was finding spark, because we didn't have spark for actually until today, and I just figured this out. That's part of the reason why I'm making this video. You know, just trying to get a video to show you guys what all we got going on here, because there's absolutely nothing on, you know, online really. It's pretty much a fucking guessing game, unless you're taking it apart and know what you're doing. But I was the one that took this thing apart. I got it, and it didn't even look like a fucking snowmobile, to be honest with you. It was ridiculous. I got pictures. I'll be able to do a time lapse. But the biggest bitch of the bunch was I didn't have spark. Doing all this digging and all this bullshit, looking at fucking wires for your grounds. There's like 4 grounds in this motherfucking snowmobile. There's one here for the battery. Goes right down here. There's one right here by the steering head. There is one down by the starter, right there. And then there is another one underneath of your motor here, back here by your fuel pump, or the first or the second fuel pump, because this fucker's got two of them. Now, got all that bullshit plugged in, didn't have spark, tracked it down, read a bunch of bullshit, tracked her down, ended up figuring out when I put this whole, not the fucking Skidoo, but you know, the headlight assembly, because that's what had a lot of the wiring, that I had to put this on. And then the coil, which is what fucking goes to your spark plugs right here. The coil, which is on the other end, I'll go show you guys. Right here. I knew that was up in there because the plugs were coming out. But this thing, I had no idea, you know, there was something to plug in there. So this thing was just, you know, fucking dangling around in here, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck it goes to. Seeing if it went to that. No, it didn't, because I already had that plugged in. Well, I'll just show you what I mean. And those things are fucking beside each other. You're like, well, goddamn, they both got 3 prongs and 3 slots. Like, what the fuck? Where does it go? Well, yeah. One of them goes to your, this one runs to your coil. And then this one runs to your TPS or EPS or, you know, mass airflow, whatever the fuck you want to call them. So yeah, took that out. Managed to get that out pretty easily. Was surprised because this sled's been nothing but bullshit. But took her off. Realized there was a fucking plug that's supposed to be in there, and I was like, well, shit. That must be the fucking plug that's running down here that I don't know where it goes. Well, lo and behold, plugged it in, turned it over, you know, and we got spark finally. So there's just a little quick video of a little, you know, some of the wiring, or not wiring, fucking wiring, and you know, it's a bunch of bullshit. You know, you got another wire that connects to this, your throttle body, right actually here on the other side. So some stuff there will be, you know, a click where you'll be like, oh, okay, that plugs in there, like this one. You know, that thing ain't going anywhere. It's fucking stuff like that. You're like, okay, that goes there. This has to go there. But some stuff is like, what the fuck? I mean, yeah. But I'll get this all buttoned back up here shortly, and we're gonna start it up for the first time, and I'll keep you guys posted.